Do I have to do this thing?
Yes.
Oyez, oyez, oyez. All persons having business before the Honorable the Supreme Court of the United States are admonished to draw near and give their attention, for the court is now sitting. God save the United States and this honorable court.
The Chief Justice now recognizes the lawyers for Mr. Snyder.
Thank you. Thank God for ID. Thank God for that total. These are the words that Albert and Julian Snyder written at some dignified right down the road from where they just buried their son, Marine Vice Corporal Matthew Snyder, killed on arrest. Freedom of speech is a fundamental part of our Constitution.
Okay, well, I'm going to get something right there for your last thing. I want to clear your thought, mind you. They didn't win the Senate.
Yeah.
They could see the toss of the sign. They didn't pacify them at all.
That's correct.
Please proceed.
Freedom of speech is a fundamental part of our Constitution. In changing times and outdated documents must adjust. We have seen such adjustments, which have previously limited free speech, like Varsity versus New Hampshire, Miller versus California, and Ross versus the United States. For the past 20 years, the congregation of Westboro Baptist Church has taken its funeral, expressing a belief that God hates the United States for its toleration of homosexuality, especially in the military. It is time for this to stop. It is not our accusation that the protesters prohibited the funeral or directly charged Matthew Snyder. But what they chose to do was to take advantage of the meeting opportunity presented by the funeral to express a message of hate for homosexuals, which in turn directly harmed the Snyder family. They had to not only bury a son, but go home to their place of solitude, only to bear witness to the service going on set when they had just buried their son and their place of worship.
Could they have not watched the news that day or gone on the internet and Googled this?
Do you feel that your First Amendment freedom of religion and peaceful association was violated by Phelps' freedom of speech?
Yes.
Thank you.
Westboro Church has infringed the rights of the Snyder family, and it is the court's responsibility to ensure that atrocities not happen again.
Let's stop right there. What rights are you referring to when you refer to the rights of the Snyder family?
Rights of the Snyder family is peaceful ceremony.
Where is that in the bill of rights? Question.
The elementary rights, not the written.
So they wouldn't have posted such a thing in the newspaper and published it. I don't think these are those funerals.
And the funeral would have been in public knowledge.
Then how can it be a sign? It's the public notice.
That's a peaceful, you don't carry on. Use my part of it.
Very well.
Referring to as a peaceful. In closing, Prince Day versus Schultz. Even protected speech is not equally permissible in all places and at all times. This case is presented as related to
No, we'll get one a little bit more. I have a question. This protected speech not being applicable in all time, were the Westboro Baptist Church congregation breaking any current laws at this time? Were they in compliance to police orders as to where they could have this protest? The chair now recognizes
I thought it wasn't a lawyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Westboro Church signs relate to a broad issue that holds interest to all of society. An example, the moral conduct of the United States and the citizens, homosexuality, and the Catholic Church. None of the church's signs were directed towards the Matthew or the Snyder family. The use of signs referred to was related to all of society, not specifically Matthew Snyder. The church did not violate any laws. They followed all orders from the police. The church used public property to hold a peaceful demonstration. They stayed 1,000 feet away from the church, and the closest the protesters came to the funeral procession was 200 to 300 feet away.
All right. You said the word funeral, correct? Is it not also true that you earlier went to the state capitol in another area in Annapolis to do a similar protest, correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, My main question, which I'm alluding to here, is why would you need to take advantage of the media caused by the death of an honorable soldier, which would also cause harm to the family, no matter what the family did?
But could you really say that we were, I mean, the only relationships they had, they were taking place at the same time.
With a local proximity. In fact, if I remember the reports correctly, the Westboro Baptist Church had put a flyer saying that they were going to be picketing the funeral.
But that's
Not at the same time of the funeral, but in the same location.
they were near each other, but I mean, we didn't interrupt the funeral. It was peaceful, we sang, and we were very far away. From Mr. Snyder's own admission, he did not see what was written on the sign. He subjected himself to seeing what was on the sign by viewing the news, by going onto the internet.
So you're saying that you did not protest at a private funeral, you protested at a church which just happened to be the exact same time as the funeral?
We were not on church property, we were on public property.
So you're saying that instead of saying, hey, we're going to be protesting at this particular location, such and such time, you said, no, we're going to actually be picketing this young's funeral. And going back to your signs being directed at the family, I remember from the reports these words, you raised your son to go to hell.
But you,
That's pretty well directed toward a group of people.
yeah, you as in society as in tolerating homosexuality.
Catholic statements were not true that the signers were all those Catholics.
Okay, so they are Catholic, but, I mean, a lot of other people are
So
Catholic.
you just happen to be directing anti-Catholic statements after publicizing that it's going to be at a funeral for a Catholic person.
Yeah. So, as in cases like Brandenburg v. Ohio, NSPA v. Village of
I'll try and
Kentucky, and Texas v. Johnson, the speech cannot be restricted simply because it upsets. Thank you.
The chief now recognizes for rebuttal Lee Snyder for the campaign.
I would like to point out that the Phelps lawyers said that they were just happy to be in that same area. They drove from Atlanta all the way to Maryland. Really?
Okay, stop right there. They also did have protests at the state capitol and Annapolis, which are both in Maryland.
They also found out about it through the newspaper, which is why they went up there to boycott it, to get their message across, to take advantage of a dead soldier's funeral. They were up there because they read about it, and it's not a coincidence that they were there, I think.
But haven't people been using the funerals as a platform for, pretty much since the Vietnam War to say, hey, this is not a cause I support, why is this different? Why is their actions not appropriate?
The protest does not directly argue the justice of their death. It's arguing policy not related to the war at all. Referring to free as homosexuals, single-life boys, and homosexuals being called death soldiers.
Which is not their opinion. Is that not their opinion as a religious organization? It is. Can opinions hurt people?
Yes.
Really? Even though opinions can be completely and totally wrong to one person, but to another person be completely and totally right.
If the opinion is used with intention to hurt at a funeral, that is a very sensitive time in any person's life. And if the intention to hurt, it can hurt.
So you're
But can you also not use it as a position to say, this is a way to improve, we don't think homosexuals are doing our military any favors, either on the combat side or with the moral side with God intervening. Is it possible that this is a suggestion that could be directed for positive improvements? We don't have homosexuals in the military, the soldier might not be dead.
It's making bad derogatory comments about homosexuality, not referring to homosexuality as a...
well, last time I checked, word comments are allowed in most places. I'll allow them.
They're pushing to get a positive image, as you were just saying. Why would they have to do it at a boycott? Or, stick at a funeral. Why can't they do it in a more peaceful manner? Why can't they just have a church gathering?
Well, it's not.
Because it's the death of a soldier. if he's in the military and God is killing our soldiers because there are homosexuals in the military, could it not be
So,
an opinion that a homosexual could have caused?
protect their right to boycott in the first place?
Well, you say the word boycott, have they abstained from buying a particular product? Is it not their right, guaranteed by the First Amendment of the
I
Constitution,
guess they're
for a
supporting it
people
for
to
free speech against abortion. So that's what they're getting things like about.
You're not answering the question. Was it not their constitutional right under the First Amendment to have a peaceful protest?
It was, and then they take it. It was their right to do that, but when there's an intent to harm someone who has given their life to protect that right, that is an intention to harm him, his memory, and his family.
What laws have they broken specifically?
All the other justices are retarded.
And why even bring it up if the person who's being harmed is dead? It seems like
The people that are being harmed are the family of Matthew Simon, who are having to watch.
so they don't have to watch it.
They don't, but it's logical to argue that they're going to go without seeing this on media.
Well,
I'm talking media program.
oh, okay, so it's on Animal Planet. This tragic, horrible thing is on Animal Planet.
You watch
What was
the
it?
news?
On
How
the
often do you watch the news?
Once every 2 years.
The side family doesn't watch it on a regular basis. They're intervening in their personal life, causing moral harm.
Would it not be the right of the media outlet to post what they want? The public right.
Should free speech be protected on the internet?
Yeah.
These people have posted their opinion, their free speech on the internet, which Albert Snyder has himself personally responsible, in his personal responsibility, has gone out to review these documents in his opinion. Why is it there a problem that he is being harmed by them?
They have the right to do all of that. The question is, was it intentional? And it was. And you cannot intentionally take away another person's right. Life, liberty, and happiness, for example, not necessarily. I'm about to.
Second of all, it's not life, liberty, and happiness. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit is a very key word in that statement.
Try to be happy.
What side are they on, Snyder?
We have to take a break.
We're not arguing whether or not they have the right to say what they say. What we are arguing.
Excuse me. Say we rule in your favor and we outlaw this type of protest towards religious.
We're not asking for an outlawing of the protest. We're asking for some type of regulation on the type, on what can be said and publicized as it
So
happens.
you're saying you're not going to outlaw, you're just going to restrict it?
Yes.
Where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line? What's too far?
That's
Oh,
not
Chuck. I really thought they would win.
This is the Supreme Court of the United States of America. We decide president. It is our place to decide.
And by being here, you've suggested that what they have done has gone too far, so.
Here's my article.
And the line must be drawn.
Yes, it should.
And Nora, you say you are not defining that line.
You just said we're not.
That's not wrong.
Clearly are here trying to define the line of how far
That's
it
right, we're asking for a line to be drawn.
Who draws the line?
She's rather this is really stupid still.
As a precedent of the court in Briggs versus Schultz,
How far did they
protected
draw the
speech
line?
doesn't take about First Amendment.
Who approved him?
Not equally permissible in all places and at all times. We feel that funeral is not the proper time in which to be protesting the death of a U.S. military soldier.
Do they disrupt the funeral?
Yes.
How?
The moral aspect of what
Correction, he will find out
Case
after
isn't
the
against
funeral.
the Constitution. This is a free speech issue. They've been exercising free speech.
As well as
That's the question, that's not a question.
that was a statement referring to the fact that he did not make a good statement.
Oh.
What I was trying to say earlier was,
This will make somebody break down their
is
side.
we soundly document our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence. you find common moral ground that we are supposed to base our law and our government on. And it is not morally okay to cause intentional harm to another person, especially someone who risks their life to protect their own rights.
Could the argument also be made that it's not morally okay for the government to define what is and what is not morally okay?
It could, but as we mentioned earlier, we here just try to, we don't want to say this, this, and this. We want to make it where everyone has free speech, but where they cannot harm another person. You can't do that and just take something away from someone else just so you can have it.
Does the harmed party, this is my final question for you, and I will let you go. Does the harmed party not have a right to say something in response, like, oh, I don't know, you guys are a bunch of idiots who are hateful and unchristian? Could they not have said that?
A lot of people, you're referring to the Westboro Baptist Church.
I'm referring to any group of people. The Westboro Baptist Church, as they are in the case involved in this case, provide a very wonderful example.
And you're asking why do
Somebody
people
should
speak
make
out
fun of
against
this.
the church?
I'm asking, do they have the ability to speak out against the church?
They,
The media
Policy.
resources of private management or individual education is not bad, it's very highly controversial Westboro Baptist Church. Definitely know they don't have the right to rebut.
So they cannot post something on the internet. They can comment on a video, for example. Or, I don't know, considering the fact that they are at the middle of a very highly publicized case, could they not take that time to speak out against the Westboro Baptist Church?
They could.
Has their physical capacity, has their First Amendment right to free speech been taken away by the free speech evidence? No.
but they have been intentionally harmed. And you can't stand a movie theater and yell fire. That's the most common example of that.
Because that calls imminent pain, causing imminent personal, physical harm. Alright? Has pain been caused here?
There has been
Has
emotional.
imminent physical harm been caused?
So, Matthew Snyder's father has been through depression. He's been physically ill at times through his depression. There has been emotional as well as physical harm.
But the death of a son is not really an event that's to be taken lightly. How can you say that just the death itself isn't the sole cause of that?
Knowing the risk of the United States Marine, the father is somewhat prepared for that, for that, especially things this is the skills, cancer and all that.
Does that make the pain any less?
No, it doesn't.
The pain is worse when every time he tries to think about his honorable son, all he can think about is the signs and the terrible things that have been said by Westboro Baptist Church. That is what is still causing harm to Matthew Snyder's father.
Yeah, so people say horrible things about people all the time through the internet and other various media, like, I don't know, for Nicki Minaj, for example. There are tons of critics of Nicki Minaj, however, it doesn't seem like Nicki Minaj's mother or father are too terribly torn up about that either by other people's free speech.
It will be.
I'm sure some people can get something attached.
Well, then, if you would like another example of front page access, there is Cy, the person who created Gangnam Style, the player. Now, he has been accused of the early 2000s of releasing a video which is harmful to America, which is highly insulting to American soldiers. Alright? That was news media. That was also a very harmful negative statement against Cy. Could that not also be?
No, it's not American. This is on the American laws and constitutions and the right to anything is fine.
You know, applies to the people who have been saying the harmful things, so. And if we're saying that we can't say harmful things, alright, then that doesn't mean who we're saying it to. It just means that we cannot say harmful things.
We're not saying you can't say wrong things. What we're saying is that media publication and such demoralizing statements should not be allowed.
Oh, I see where you're going. You're saying that the media can't post things that they choose to, that they feel would be liked or watched by one of my people.
What we're saying is there's a time and a place to say one thing, and a time and a place to say another. And at the death of an honorable soldier, that is not the time to use not necessarily offensive, but to speak your mind when it can cause distress to the family.
I'll let you guys go. Did now recognize the Phelps legal team for their rebuttal?
Alright, thank you. The whole argument that the Snyder side is trying to make is the context of in which this happened. That since he was an honorable soldier and since it was at a funeral and since, you know, the father became depressed from it, that we should be held liable. Now, in my interpretation of the Constitution, it never says, oh, when it occurs at this time and place, the First Amendment doesn't apply. And also the sign, all the
Usually
signs.
going to demonstrate that the First Amendment right to free speech does not apply in every case, as we've already, as in Young Fire President.
Yeah, I'm saying, like,
But the Constitution doesn't say that sometimes it's protected, sometimes it's not. That's something that we've decided.
Also, the civil torts called liable and the other one that's like liable, but in a different form of media. Slander. Alright, those are suable, are they not?
yes.
Does that not also imply that the free speech is not limited to there?
But I feel like our speech was not directed to, I mean, it's like in a way, but the same signs we used at the protest were the same signs we used in Annapolis.
Could you not have just stayed in Annapolis instead of taking advantage of a funeral?
But we could have, but we have the right
But would
to
it be,
hold
but
people.
would it be unreasonable for a passerby to see these signs and say, God hates fags, and you're going to hell, and not assume that, oh, you're going to hell probably refers to the deceased? Is that unreasonable to assume?
But we all
The fact that
die.
they already died.
But we all die. I mean, because it didn't say you were going to hell right now. Like you're on your way to hell now. I mean, there's a lot of things
Could a
that
person
people
not argue that their mortality maintains itself throughout a person's life, and so therefore, I'll continue, I'm on a rant. And so therefore, whatever afterlife they may go through, are they not technically already going to that place by living?
Yes.
But do you have any proof that they're going to hell? Can you back that up by any
Well, we are allowed to say what we want.
So I could end up break down and
There's the
cry.
fact that you chose and publicized the fact that it was going to be at this funeral, that you were near this funeral. And it's not also logical for a reasonable person to draw a connection. Funeral, death, hell, death. There's a link here.
But once again, the same exact protest, the same signs were used at the state capitol and at Annapolis.
Could you have not just stayed there? Would your point not have been made if you had stayed there?
No issue was made at those times. The only issue was made when they were made at a soldier's funeral.
But they were not intentionally for the people who caused harm against the planet.
But considering the fact that you could have gone to these many places, that you've gone to these several places, and you chose to go to this funeral, does that not intentionally say that you're directing your comments towards the funeral family?
Does the sign, God hates dead soldiers, not directly infer
Soldiers die every day.
soldiers whose funeral was just 200 yards away?
The battlefield. But they were used other places, so how can you limit these signs just to this one specific place?
Because it is a specific place. You are not at multiple locations at the same time, are you not? You can only be at one place at one time, and that one place is a place of your choosing. That you have applied to be in.
I'm gonna have to
But
300, some 33, something like
It
that.
happened during the funeral. If it did not disrupt the funeral, the protest led the...
Actually, if you want to be technical, the route had to be changed to avoid the
The
funeral
protesters
procession.
left approximately 8 minutes after the funeral started, according to the police.
So during the funeral, there was a protest.
But, no, they left after.
They left after the start, which
Yeah,
means
but-
during the funeral, which means the
But they
moment
were not-
before you left, it was still going on. And since the moment before you left was after the funeral started, you can say during the funeral.
They were not disrupting the funeral. Albert said he didn't see the signs until he saw the top of the signs at the funeral procession. That's after the funeral.
Oh, really?
Doesn't that give him cause to investigate what the science might have said?
But he didn't. He went and subject in itself.
Which is called investigating on what those signs may have had.
But he didn't have to. That was,
Something a reasonable person would do out of simple curiosity.
but that was his choice.
A reasonable person would make that same choice. It's logical that a person would make that choice. Not only that, there are also the people who are walking down the road. Let's say Snyder's best friend walks down the road, sees the sign, walks down a little further, sees the funeral, puts two and two together. So let's say, he tells his father. Let's just say that. And let's say, for whatever reason, his friend is affected by those signs and that he has said hatred toward that person. Did you not affect someone causing turn to affect pain on another person? Could you not have done that? Is that not even remotely possible?
It's possible. Anything's possible.
I'll make somebody cry.
I mean, but we're going to the
Yeah, remember, that's all right, you have that. There's 5 minutes
I said it.
remaining in the overall 30 minutes. Divide that up how you
We allow rebuttal.
Since they obviously have nothing left to say,
Well, I didn't know my question.
I was
We have
expecting you to continue.
2 quick statements, one of which is that they were referring to the context of the speech, which, if not directly connected to Matthew John's funeral, that should do convey a broad condemnation of modern society. But the way it was used to insult a personal attack, and it being a personal attack, as you mentioned, Nicki Minaj or other public figures, Matthew Snyder was not a public figure. He was not subject to the same type of media broadcast as public figures are, such as Gaiman, Nicki Minaj, other actors, actresses. He was a private individual or so.
Who is listed international and whose death was publicized.
As all that. His death did not receive news media attention until Westboro Church released their commentary that he will be there.
Okay, so being in the newspaper is not news attention.
It is
The newspaper
any
any
such media attention as a news channel.
Are we comparing news now?
Doesn't matter to what extent that free speech is practiced. Doesn't matter whether this is happening on a small scale or a large scale.
The funeral broadcasting of the funeral.
Well, would that not be the choice of the broadcaster and not the people who are doing the protest?
I'm just say this is a comical.
Well, it's legally required to be publicly broadcast.
Is it also legally required that you publicly broadcast the protest of the funeral? Well then, question, why are the people who did the most direct harm the news media, not the people who were sued? Why is it this group of
The
people?
news media are the ones that convey the message. There's no more than convey the message.
Did they have to convey the message?
It was news. So,
Did they have to
I
convey
think
the
it's
message?
a lot like that.
News happens in many forms. Are you saying that they do not already choose what news they do promote and what news they do not promote?
No, this thing is big as it is. I would say it's probably.
Yes, after the trials began, after the suings, which is
Now,
still
I'm talking
ongoing.
about that previous report there.
Still up to the discretion of the NSG.
It is.
I wasn't saying. So, as I said, since it was his final discretion who led to the harm of the Snyder, why is there hope? Why is there harm?
There's not one.
I'm gonna say how confident are they now and before the interview, before the, and how do you believe that the justices will
So
vote?
the same protest was made at the Capitol in Annapolis. No hubbub was made about it. Why is this any different? It's the same protest.
That's what I'm saying. As I said, those are public figures. One is taxed less than them. They live a public life. This is a private, they have a private life. This is those public figures.
Are we now discretioning whether or not a citizen is public or private and does it still rise? Or is there not something called the 14th Amendment that equalizes such distinctions, such as wealth and race and ethnicity?
If I can make just a statement. Now, you can sit up here and argue.
Which we clearly are.
If you look at the facts, were they breaking any laws? No.
We're not talking about facts, we're talking about the law.
And I'm
Do
just
not-
putting a statement, it'll tie together, I promise.
Policy.
Anyways, what it comes down to is, this is the time where we can change that, so where we can make it to where people not intentionally, physically or emotionally cause harm to another person. This is the time where the President, Brown versus Board, we look back and we see that they made that change, and that we can make the change where you cannot sit there and ruin somebody else's life just because of your opinion.
Yeah.
Just you can't do that. I would like to say that Robert told me is beginning to be strict interpretation of the Constitution. I mean, it's used in
Do any of the other justices have any questions they want?
Conflicting stuff. Guess who's getting the article? No, a strict interpretation.
So they have some precedent. Do you
Strict
have any?
interpretation means.
There's
Oh,
Texas,
sorry.
Johnson, there's the NSPA, the Village of Go,
I'm saying he was the
There was one question about KKK.
yeah.
Do you like being compared to them?
Compared to
Bigotry is not common ground.
Can I say Justice Baker over here needs to just shut his mouth?
Writing actual words on a sign and posting.
I've already.
Okay, let's finish.
because it's free speech. So Bradenburg v. Ohio, that the Supreme Court upheld the KKK and hard speech towards African American and Jewish people.
But you use the Texas versus Johnson, and you keep on away from the question that how is burning a flag the same as using harmful statements to focus your time?
Because to many American citizens, the American flag is a symbolic symbol that upholds everything America stands for, and it's really hurtful to some people to burn it. Now, the Supreme Court said that Johnson had the right to do that, whether if everybody agreed with
Did
him
he
or
burn
not.
it in front of a large group of people?
It was at a rally, I believe, and it was on the news too.
But did it directly cause harm to a specific individual?
Americans as a whole, it's so Americans.
This is harming homosexuals too, I think God hates homosexuals. How is that not the same?
And do those homosexuals not have the freedom to practice whatever moral discipline they want to in America?
We're not saying what was on the sign was right and that everybody was going to accept it. We're saying that we have the right to believe and express what we want, just as you would like speak out for the tolerance of homosexuality. Why can we not be against it? Because we're a minority, because our opinion is not highly favored. We're not the only people in America who have this opinion. There are many people who do not like homosexuality or do not like the morals and what of the United States
Yes,
holds.
so they
Why
might.
would your message contribute to the discussion of homosexuality anyway?
I don't understand the question.
So by saying God hates homosexuals, there needs to be some discussion of why is homosexuality bad or what can be done about it. This is just a statement of this is what we believe, but nobody's going home watching this on the news and saying, here are all these signs about homosexuals. What's the big deal in that case?
But that's the thing, like, just because we have an opinion doesn't mean it has to be a good opinion, it doesn't have to be a backed up opinion. I mean, our opinion could be very much wrong, it's just that we have this opinion.
And it's not contributing to society in any way.
I mean, like, maybe other people will.
Other than harming us.
Do you believe you should be allowed to use such vulgar and harmful vocabulary?
I believe that our word choice may not have been the best, but it was a way for us to get our message across.
Could you not have chosen a better word choice? Would it not accomplish the same message?
We could have done a lot of things different, but the fact of the matter is.
Okay, the overall, I'm going to cut it off, that's what it is. The overall 30 minutes, the oral arguments have come to an end.